So I guess this interview stream is gonna be 2 streams. Because this is just too much for 1 stream. This man, compare that with Miura Kentaro interviews. We have like 2, 3 maybe. Over like 30 years, that man did not communicate with his fans at all. He did not want to talk to any of us. He did not want to communicate with anyone. But Fujimoto has so many interviews already. Now, this is great because he, as I said, he's keeping in touch with his fandom and other people in the industry, which is what Miura didn't do. I mean, I don't know about the industry part, but Miura didn't talk to the fans at all. Not at all. People were like, oh, when is he going to come back from hiatus? What is he doing? We don't know. He's not talking to us. We don't know anything. So I think I prefer Miura's approach. I don't. I prefer Fujimoto's approach. I don't like Miura's approach at all. Because it was so easy to get frustrated at him. Like, I was always frustrated, like, saying he owes the fans who are basically feeding him to continue the story, or to at least tell them why he's not continuing the story, or canceling it at least, so he can work on other projects and not work on other projects before finishing Berserk. And others like, oh no, others were like, no, Miura doesn't owe his fans anything. He can do whatever he wants. Yeah, but he's only there because of the fans, you know? They're buying his stuff. They're still supporting him. So at least a little communication would help, you know? There's one... I'm not a fan of Stephen King's writing because I don't like his style. But everyone knows he's a bestseller author. And he's basically shitting out books year after year. And he started one series, a real passion project. He started the series, but then put it on hiatus, right? Then he was involved in an accident where he almost lost his life. And that made him realize that he had an obligation to fulfill to his readers, because readers are basically living their entire lives. You know how long 30 years are. They are dying in between. Like, they can die a million times over in those 30 years. They're getting a career, they're building a family, they're getting sick, they're dying in those 30 years. And to not finish the story that made you who you are today, you know, promising the reader something but not upholding that promise, that's what Stephen King said, that felt really wrong to him. So that accident where he almost died made him realize he had to finish this. And he did finish the series. And I'm proud of him for that. And I agree with him on that. So, it's not they owe us, but they set up a promise, and if they're not fulfilling it and not communicating with us at all to give an explanation or anything, just any information, it feels wrong. It doesn't feel right. Like just saying, hey, let's meet up tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then they never show up. And you can't even reach them. Like, that type of promise, you know? Like, that would be an equivalent, perhaps. It's not that it's bad that maybe they have something going on in their life that is more important to them. Like, at least tell us, you know? And that's what I mean. So, I prefer Fujimoto's approach to at least, you know, talk to the fans, if not directly to them, at least communicating with them through interviews. I think Miura, after a while, hated Berserk. I think so too. Like, in some way. Just like Inoue, in some way. Like, it was still part of their heart and identity, but they still had a chip on their shoulder, towards that work. And this is why it was like this. Also, Miura was an old school mangaka, and I guess communication with fans was different back then. Back then, he died last year. So he was working until last year. And he was using a tablet and so on. I think technology and like learning new communication forms and so on, and technology is not an issue for him. Like he knows what phones are. And what Twitter is probably, I don't know. I don't think that's an issue. Communication with fans was different back then. But you also have more interviews with mangaka from the same period as him, so I still don't see it. New era mangakas have the social media on their arsenal. Old school mangakas had hard time to adapt to this new era communication. No, I meant back when he started. Yeah, when he started, he gave the most interviews. And then later on, nothing came. I like its gloomy atmosphere and especially the unexpectedness of its plot. On Fire Punch, my Tanto, his editor, Lin Shihei, and I went for that inspiration as our story plays with the same idea of dramatic unpredictability. But my references in matter of cinema are not restricted to Korean cinema. Yeah, we know that. And I also like how Fujimoto said how we planned the story, how we wanted to create the story, because yes, that is true. Which is what I also complained a little bit about when I was reading the Inoue Takehiko interviews, where he was like, yeah, just for 20 years he was basically left on Vagabond alone. Like he was doing everything by himself and he didn't want to take anyone's advice on it, and I'm like, that's not how you do stories. That's not how you publish stories. You always need an editor. That's how you get the best results. I think that's also why Berserk kind of went downhill, because the Golden Age arc was just so good that the magazine, like the publishers and the editors, they were like, yeah, we're gonna let this man do whatever the fuck he wants. And they didn't even stop him when he was doing bullshit. So you shouldn't give mangaka totally free reins. They need to be given another viewpoint. Like, they need to be shown a mirror and be like, hey, do you see what the fuck you're doing? And like, I'm an outsider, I'm a professional, I'm trained in this, and I'm gonna tell you how to make it better. You're still the creator. I'm just someone who's gonna polish your work with you. We are creating this together. We're brainstorming together. We're doing this together, okay? So that's why I think editors are super important. They're just as important as the mangaka themselves. So I would never let a mangaka just do whatever the fuck they want. So I like how he's saying, how Fujimoto is saying, we decided on how to do this and this. And they're really a team. It's a team. It's teamwork. It's a team effort. I know it's not that manga related, but the same thing happens with Kojima. Wait, who's that again? Who's that again? The first Metal Gear games. Yeah. No, yes, thank you. No, I know. Metal games were so successful that Kojima got full liberty. Yeah, never give them full liberty. They just go insane. And we saw how Death Stranding ended up. Yeah. So I think it's always better to have someone just basically being. Was that dust? Yeah, anyway, you need an editor. My editor and I went for that inspiration as our story plays with the same idea of dramatic unpredictability. He's completely acknowledging Lin's input on the manga, which is why I respect Fujimoto so much. What's your opinion on the official continuation of the Berserk? I'm curious about it. My opinion is that was the most respectful way they could have continued with the manga, by taking his best friend and putting him on the job. Being like, yeah, you know the ending. You're gonna direct it. We're gonna draw it. He trusted you. He wanted to live with you. This entire story was inspired by your friendship, so it would only be wise if you, Mori-sensei, continued his legacy. So I think that's the perfect way to continue Berserk. And I'm curious about, because he said he's not gonna go on all these what are they called, side missions or whatever. He's just gonna stick with, the point. He's gonna get straight to the point and get the story to the finish line. Not gonna branch out and have filler characters, filler arcs, and whatever, like Miura had been doing until now. He's just gonna get straight to the point and finish Berserk. So I want to see how he's gonna do that. Because all this embellishment with unnecessary stuff, that was typical Miura. Whereas now, if he just says, okay, point by point, we're gonna go through the list of what's gonna happen, what Miura told me, and we're gonna have like a checklist and be like, yeah, this needs to be done for the story to progress and reach the end. I want to see if it's still gonna have soul behind it, If it's gonna have soul, which I doubt, because for quite some time now, Berserk has lacked soul, in my opinion. I want to, but it's still, it reeked of Miura because it was just unnecessary filler shit. So I want to see if there's still gonna be a personality in there, if it's just gonna be like, just going from checkpoint to checkpoint until we reach the finishing line. If it's gonna have any type of personality, and if it's gonna have any soul, because I doubt it's gonna have soul, and I doubt it's gonna have personality, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Because Morty said he's gonna cut the dilly-dallying, which was the personality of Berserk, basically. And the soul, I don't know if you can bring that out if you just go, checkpoint by checkpoint, but don't have the authors, the original authors, vision and emotions and feeling and messages that he tried to bring across with all these moments that he wanted to portray. Because it's not just checkpoints, it's also moments between characters that matter. So I'm curious about it. I want to see it. I said I doubt it's gonna have personality and soul. But I want to see if I am correct or not. I want to see how Mori does it. How Mori and Studio Gaga's product is going to compare to what we got so far. I genuinely don't care about Berserk. I just want to see how they're going to make, like how this part now is going to compare to what we got before Miura passed away. I just want to compare that and see what the difference is. That's the only thing I'm curious about. I do not care about the content, actually. I don't fucking care about Berserk. Because I dropped it 5 years ago. I basically buried it 5 years ago? Yeah. That's when I told myself, yeah, there's no point hanging on to a corpse. Berserk isn't what it used to be anymore, and I can't pretend I care for it. So I genuinely don't care what's gonna happen. I just want to see how, in comparison to what we got before, it's gonna be delivered. That's what I care about. Basically, no horseshit, no lowlies, no pedophilia. Yeah, me too. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I guess now we will get chapters on time and won't be seeing pointless comic relief pages. I still cannot see how Berserk can end with a good note. Same. I mean, Miura wrote Berserk into a corner. Yeah. While the art feels like it's missing Miura's touch, yeah, it's as close as it can get. I just hope it gets more consistent this time. As I said, I don't fucking care because no matter how, I don't think you can save Berserk anymore because Miura fucked it up so badly for 20 years now. He fucked it up. I don't think whatever ending we get can repair those 20 years of content that we got before. So, I genuinely don't care. Berserk went to shit. I don't think it can be undone. If people can move on from Berserk by getting an ending, good for them. They're getting that now. I personally didn't need that. I moved on. So I don't care. But yeah, but holy crap, the burden those mangakas are carrying now, they will get all the blame if something story-wise, art-wise is off. Which is fucking shitty because not even Miura got the blame so far for the story and characters going off. Like, going completely off the rails of what they were supposed to be and do. So, not even Miura got flack for that. I don't think anyone is gonna be mad at them, though. Because, as Mori said in an interview, he got the continuation and ending of Berserk, and he's gonna just put the on paper. He got the message from Miura himself. He's just gonna tell it to others now. He's the prophet, okay? Whatever comes now, no one can be blamed for continuing the message, right? No one can be blamed for Mori and Studio Gaga actually continuing what Miura had in mind, if that was not a lie, that it was actually like told to Mori how it should end, and that was the final idea. Which I'm not saying it is, but no one can be mad at that. Everyone should be grateful for him to, continue doing that. So whatever comes now, they can't be mad at Mori, they can't be mad at Gaga, Studio Gaga, they can't be mad at Miura. Honestly, give Berserk 5 to 10 years after it's finished, and people are gonna be more honest about the quality of it, and call it out. And finally be really just eyes wide open and say, yeah, actually most of it is shit. But this one part was really good. So we can't overlook that really good part. But actually the rest of it is really shit. So I think, give it just a few years after it's finished, and people are gonna be like, you know what, actually Berserk wasn't even that good. Like, overall. Yeah, the Golden Age arc was good, yeah. But the rest, what the fuck was that? I bet that's gonna happen.